Hello world, Cozzy here with this week's roundup of Geek Movie news. Now, once again, quite a lot to get through this week, so let's get started. Okay, some more news this week about Tarantino's upcoming spaghetti western, Django Unchained. Now, casting-wise, another member has joined the cast, and that is Kerry Washington. Now, she is going to be playing the wife of the title character, Django, who will be played by Jamie Foxx. In my opinion, this is fantastic casting. She is a brilliant actress, and she's worked already with Fox. For any of you who've seen Ray, they worked very, very well together on that. And yeah, I think this is all-round good news. Another piece of great casting for Tarantino's Django Unchained. Finally, some good news on Ron Howard's adaptation of Stephen King's The Dark Tower series. Now, this massive transmedia event, which will encompass 3 big-budget Hollywood movies and 2 television miniseries, was shelved not so long ago due to the fact that basically the companies involved, the production companies, were pulled out. The big studios pulled out, and there was no TV secured for the miniseries. Now, first bit of good news is that about $45 million has been slashed from the budget for the first movie, making it more likely that this will be picked up by one of the major studios again. And secondly, that it has been confirmed the miniseries are definitely going to be shown on HBO. Now, that means obviously there's been some sort of agreement reached that the 2 miniseries will go onto HBO once they are produced, once the films are out there. And this is, really good news for any fans of the Dark Tower series. And good to see that finally this is making progress to getting on not just the big screen, but also the small screen. News this week on the Logans Run remake, and apparently not only has it got a new director in the form of Nicholas Winding Refn, but the script is getting a rewrite. Now, the original script by Alex Garland and William Beale is getting a rewrite now by Andrew Baldwin. No news on why it's getting a rewrite, although is it connected to the fact that this new director is connected to the project? I don't know. A lot of speculation, and I would say it's probably a good chance that it is. For those of you who are wondering about the director himself, Winding Refn is the director of Drive, and this will see him work again with Ryan Gosling, who is going to be playing the main role of Logan in this remake of Logan's Run. For me, you guys all know my opinion on remakes. A lot of remakes have been made recently. I'd say 99% of them have been awful, and to remake a film like this, which in my opinion is an untouchable classic, just like what I was saying about the original Highlander movie, it just seems like a shame and a waste of time, effort and a lot of money. Some Star Trek sequel news, and just little tidbits of information more than anything else. Firstly, it will not be called Star Trek 2. It will have some sort of name after Star Trek, very similar to the films featuring the Next Generation crew from the previous cycle of Star Trek movies. So it will not be called Star Trek 2. Secondly, it has been confirmed that this new Star Trek movie will go into production in mid-January. So it will actually start filming very early on in 2012. Great news for all of us Star Trek fans who are waiting to hear more and more about this. Still no news on the main villain or any storyline or any plot, even locations that will be used. But at least we're getting some story now. Star Trek 2, won't be called that, is going to go into production in mid-January of next year. Okay, as I mentioned a week or 2 ago, Disney is working on another Phineas and Ferb movie, which is going to be released on the 26th of July 2013. Now, just a little bit more news about it. Firstly, the first draft of the script has been written by the co-creators of the show, Jeff Swampy Marsh and Dan Povenmire. Disney are apparently pleased, but they want a big name screenwriter to rework. So this isn't a rewrite, just adding their own creative touch to the script for this Phineas and Ferb movie. And big deal is the fact that they have chosen Michael Arndt, the screenwriter of Toy Story 3, to rework his own creative touches into this screenplay. Now, the reason that is a big deal is because Arndt is an Academy Award winning screenwriter. He won the Academy Award for the screenplay for Little Miss Sunshine in 2007, and therefore him working his own creative magic on the Phineas and Ferb movie is seen as a massive deal. As long as he keeps it as crazy and as funny, and as I've admitted numerous times, I love this show. If he keeps it as crazy as funny as the TV series, then it's going to make a bucket load of money at the box office. After 15 years, it seems like there's finally some movement on that Independence Day sequel. I say sequel. I should say sequels. Because Fox are apparently in negotiations with Roland Emmerich and Dan Devlin, the original screenwriters, to write 2 sequels to 1996's Independence Day. And for those of you who haven't seen that movie, it is a science fiction movie about an alien invasion, and it is absolutely brilliant. You should go out and get hold of it if you can. Now, Emmerich is down to direct the 2 movies, and apparently Will Smith is in negotiations to come back to star in both of these movies. The only stumbling block, possibly, Will Smith wants $50 million to star in these 2 sequels to Independence Day. In the current economic climate, that is a staggering amount. Ticket sales at the cinema are down, and therefore profits are down. You can't be expecting to pick up $50 million, Will. Come on, it's not like you've been having an absolutely storming time career-wise in the last 2 years. This could be just the pick-up your career needs. Drop your wage demands and get making these movies, guy. According to Variety, the Indominia Group are working on another set of back-to-back sequels, this time for the horror movie franchise Cabin Fever. Now, building on what happened in the original 2 movies, this sees the virus going further afield and will be set in the Caribbean. Now, the first movie is going to be called Cabin Fever Outbreak. It's going to be written by Adam and Deborah Marcus, and basically you will see the flesh-eating virus on a Caribbean island. The second movie, which is going to be called Cabin Fever Patient Zero, is going to be written by Jake Wade Wall, and it revolves around a research ship that runs into a Caribbean cruise ship. So yeah, so we've got a new location, so probably won't see any of the original characters from the first 2 movies, although horror movie franchise you never really know. Definitely will have nothing to do with the original writer and director of the first movie, very much in the same way the second movie didn't, Eli Roth, and at the moment no director or casting news, but yeah, Cabin Fever, it's getting 2 sequels. Okay, in an interview this week, Mark Miller has mentioned that the first movie to be produced under his new Millarworld production company is going to be an adaptation of one of his comic books, and that comic book is American Jesus. Now, for those of you who don't know, it's a modern day take on Jesus Christ, on the fact that a young boy discovers he is Jesus Christ, and he must fight, basically, the Antichrist, who's called Armageddon. Now, the first half of the movie is going to be shot in America. The second half of the movie is going to be shot in Scotland. Now, this could be a real boost for Scotland as both a filming location and for the UK for our basically struggling economy. So this is good news all round. Miller is trying to do for Scotland with this movie what the Lord of the Rings films did for New Zealand. Finally, guys, maybe someone else in Movieland is actually watching the show. You know, last week when I got on that whole rant about how I think comic book writers, they should have the chance to adapt their own material for the big screen more, how they're very talented writers in their own right. Well, now Ed Brubaker's going to get the chance to adapt one of his own comic books for the big screen, and that comic book is Criminal. Now, for those of you who don't know much about Criminal, it's basically a modern day crime and noir story. Each arc in the story focuses on one single character mainly, and each then next arc brings in another character who's interlinked to that storyline. So if this first movie is successful, we could see a whole series of movies in this universe. So let's hope that Brubaker, obviously getting the chance to adapt his own basically comic book series for the big screen, he does a good job, that it does well at the box office, and that then we get a whole series of these. Now, the only thing that's been set in stone, other than that Brubaker's going to try and adapt it himself, is that David Slade is going to actually direct this. He is famous for directing 30 Days of Night, and also some sort of shiny vampire film that children talk about. Meh, I don't know what's going on with that one. More exciting news this week, and that is that James McAvoy is locked in for X-Men First Class 2, or as I like to call it, and I'm not sure if this was what they're going to go with, Second Class. So yeah, McAvoy, not only has he admitted that he is contractually obliged to star in any sequels, but that he's actually really excited, and that him and Matthew Vaughn have already been talking over some possible plot points for the next X-Men movie. Now, for me, those two guys are really important elements for this being a success. If you haven't seen what I thought about X-Men First Class, you can just obviously click out there and watch my original review. But if there's going to be a sequel, you've got to have Vaughn in the director's seat, and you've got to have, obviously, McAvoy as Xavier. All I need to hear now is Michael Fassbender say he definitely will return as Magneto, and I'll be a happy chappy. Screenwriters Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely have been talking a little bit about the Captain America sequel that is coming from Marvel Studios. What they've said is that the majority of the movie will be set in the present day, that we won't see 80-90% of it in the past and then a short section in the modern day. Now, this opens a whole host of possibilities for basically villains. I think that most likely we're going to see either Winter Soldier, or I really hope they go with MODOK. That's just my personal opinion. I think MODOK would be an amazing villain to do on the big screen, and yeah, they've got the budget to do it, they've got the actors to do it, why not go for it? But yeah, some good news about Captain America 2. Some possibly bad news for fans of Sin City, and that is that Mickey Rourke has come out and said this week it will take a lot of heavy negotiation to get him to return to the part of Marv for Sin City 2. Now, the reasoning he puts behind this is the fact that he's claustrophobic and he struggles wearing the heavy prosthetics and makeup 13 or 14 hours a day during filming. To me, it seems like a bargaining tool. It seems like he wants to up the price, basically, and get more money. And maybe I'm just cynical, but if that is the case, then Miller, Rodriguez, everyone involved with making Sin City 2, throw money at this guy. He was absolutely amazing. He made the first movie what it was. He's fantastic. We need him in Sin City 2. According to reports on Heat Vision, George R.R. Martin's superhero anthology Wild Cards is getting the big budget movie treatment. Now, for those of you who maybe don't know very much about this comic book, it's set in an alternate reality where an alien virus is unleashed over New York City, and it turns people either into deformed creatures called Jokers, or more rarely into superpowered humans called Aces. Now, the co-creator of this series, Melinda Snodgrass, is going to write the screenplay. There's no news on director, no news on casting yet, but once I know, guys, as always, I'll pass it on to you. Some Red 2 news this week, and it seems that Summit Entertainment are targeting an August 2nd, 2013 release date for the movie. Now, I've said it a million times for those of you who are regular viewers, I am a massive fan of the first movie, and I can't wait to see the second one. So now we've got some sort of timeline, August 2nd, 2013 for Red 2. Right, guys, that's all for this week's Geek Movie News. As always, if you like this video, then the like button is just down there. You go and click on it so you can let me know that you liked it. If you want to subscribe, as always, you click on this ugly mug here and you'll subscribe to my channel. If, by any chance, you happened to miss last week's Geek Movie News, then it's just there and you can click on that and you can watch what you've missed last week. If you maybe missed my review for Batman Year One, you can click just there and you can watch that lovely review. If you'd like to leave me a comment, if you'd like to tell me about some sort of movie news that you hear about this week that you think might be important for next week's video, then comment boxes, as always, are down there. If you click on the description box down there also, you'll find a link to my Facebook fan site. You'll also find a link to follow me on Twitter, so you can find out what's going on, not only in the world of this channel and Geek Movie News, but maybe a little bit what's going on in the world of Cozzy. So yeah, as always guys, thanks for watching and au revoir.